A very good evening and a warm welcome to Personal Finance. I'm Gugulethu Cele. Now the weather is getting colder and our Eskom bills are getting a lot higher as we turn on the heating. But how can we prevent spending more money in the winter months? Eunice Sibiya, head of FNB Consumer Education, is here to give us some financial winter warmers. Good to have you with us this evening as always. Let's pick up on the theme and the trend, financial winter warmers. Do we often find that consumers firstly tend to spend more money when it comes to the winter months in South Africa?
Yes, unfortunately, Gugu, we tend to spend more, and at times we're not even aware, and it's usually unplanned for because we just fall into the season without thinking a lot about it, without thinking about what's coming ahead, and therefore how best can we prepare ourselves financially speaking, that is.
So you're going to give us the kit tonight in order to prepare ourselves financially, and I take it the key starting point, as it is always, is to draw up a budget.
Yes, we need to draw up a budget almost every day or every month and keep to it or check up on it on a monthly basis. But more especially for the season of winter that we're talking about, it is very important to actually take some time and take stock of what is about to happen. We're already feeling the temperature has dropped quite a bit. You had to pull out those jackets and that kind of thing. And some people were like, oh, actually I'm short of jerseys. Oh, actually the kids don't have this. And oh, the blankets and the electric blanket from last year is no longer working. And those are the things that may, the expenses that may creep in and we didn't expect them and therefore didn't plan for them. But if you look at winter, obviously there's going to be a high usage of electricity. In brackets, let's forget the load shedding. But generally speaking, we tend to use more electricity. And we need warm water. Everything is hot. We use up the stoves and kettles and everything much more in winter. And that pushes up the bill, the electricity bill. But there are also medical expenses. It's flu season, it's cold season, and everything, those that have bronchitis and what have you, they come up in winter. Have you planned for those unexpected coughs and medical expenses that you might incur this time of the year? And it's also the type of food that we consume in winter. Yeah. We want warm food. And warm food is slightly expensive than your summer food. Summer, you're good with a piece of meat and salad, a fruit salad there, you're good to go. Winter, it's all your soups and warm meals and meals that take longer to prepare. So it's that kind of thing that indirectly and very subtle may add to the monthly expenses.
Let's start off in the kitchen now that you brought up the issue of food and how we can use our kitchen appliances more conservatively there. And I take it, it's the obvious, the hot chocolates and the coffees and cups of teas and the soups that you alluded to earlier on.
Exactly. It's again, mainly it's the electricity that we use up in the month with those kettles that are boiling throughout the day. The stove is on for the soups and whatever. So let's just make sure that whatever we can in terms of preparing the meals, let's cook in bulk. The soup, we can make a bigger pot instead of having smaller pots, every evening. The stews can be prepared in bulk kind of thing. Make sure that the stove works properly. And I've seen people that leave the stove plate on for much longer, even after they're done cooking. Or sometimes you just walk in, the plates are on. Why? They're trying to keep the room or the house warm. That's very expensive. We need
the kitchen as a heater.
I tell you, the stove is a heater. It's very expensive because those plates consume much more electricity. So use it for cooking and clar, so you know that you're saving a lot. But it's the planning for the preparation of the meals that will help save the electricity, because if you plan ahead and you cook in bulk, for instance, where you can and when you can, it'll help on maybe an evening of not cooking. You're just heating up quickly and that's it. But again, stocking up on those soups, stocking up on the hot chocolates, if you didn't plan for them, that grocery bill might go up.
Exactly. So it all goes back to the B word, that initial budget.
The B word, yes.
Something else that came up was preparation, which is something that you alluded to. And this ties in with electricity again and the heating. I take it we use, as you mentioned, a lot of hot water. There are things and measures that we can put in place to reduce and keep our hot water slightly longer in the geyser. Yes,
and the geyser temperature. Maybe you check the geyser temperature, that it's set to the right temperature. It's not necessarily too high, because then it'll keep the water almost on boiling point in the geyser. But we don't necessarily use that hot water, when you take a bath. So let the geyser temperature also be, at the right setting. Again, talking about the geyser, do you have that blanket that keeps and retains the warmth? Or if it doesn't have the blanket, obviously it's going to get cold much quicker. Therefore, it pulls more electricity to keep the water warm in the geyser. But again, talking about warm with on the point of electricity. It is also trying to make sure that your equipment in the house works very well. Your iron, is it cranky? Is it a good iron? Because a good iron picks up the electricity much quicker. It retains the heat, and it doesn't need to be left longer to attract the heat. Yeah. And another thing is your kettle. Do not boil a kettle full of water for a cup or two of tea or soup. Yes. So it's those things that, because if the kettle is full, you need to wait for all the water to come to boiling point. It consumes electricity only to make 1 cup or 2 cups of tea, and then later on you fill up again for another cup or 2. So just make sure if it's 2 cups, just a little bit, halfway, and it's just the 2 cups, and you're done. So it's those smaller things that we tend maybe to ignore that can actually help save electricity and eventually saving on that B word on the budget.
Exactly. Also moving to the bedroom, from the perspective of trying to keep warm at night, I take it that's also somewhere where either you have a nice fluffy duvet and blanket, or you invest in an electric blanket. But I take it we also need to be savvy with regard to the appliances that you use, and not overcompensating in one environment and that also having a pinch on your pocket.
You said it's all right. It's also, before we rely on the electric blanket and the underfloor heating and the heaters that will be buzzing around the house, it's also dressing up warm. Warm enough for the temperature outside. Therefore, you don't rely more on external warmth, which is the heater and the underfloor heating, and maybe the electric blanket in the evening. The electric blanket in the evening has got the warning sign to say, make it on at this point, and at this point switch it off. But I know of people that say they have it on throughout the evening just because it's nice and warm. Like, there's also a bit of a risk there.
Exactly.
There's some danger that might happen. Just make sure that those wires are connected and it's working properly, because it's also an electrical equipment. So make sure that the wires are still okay. Last year's blanket, just check it out. Make sure that everything is still cool before you plug it on. The heaters, if we keep the heater on for a while, and later on when the room is nice and warm, close the doors. Keep the doors closed, so that you keep the warmth circulating in the room. However, if all the doors are open around the house,
defeats the purpose.
It defeats the purpose. So you're going to have heaters on almost the whole day or almost the whole evening. So it's those safety measures that we can apply. It's not only for our own safety. It ties into the financial aspect of it.
Eunice, just to sidestep for a moment and maybe look at the broader themes with regard to winter and the costs that are often incurred. You mentioned that people might need to buy heaters, might need to buy new blankets and the likes. There's often a bias or tendency to pick up that credit card, swipe it away, and forget about the debt that you're accumulating. Is it also important, especially now, to monitor the amount of access to credit that you have?
Budgeting. It all ties back into budgeting. Say you remember that now, oh, my baby's jersey is now small and we need this blanket, or we need this and the other. Just sit down for a moment before you rush to the shops. Sit down and look at your financial status. Can you afford to go swipe that credit card? Or can you afford to go buy on that store card? Because then it's a new purchase. That means from the end of that particular month, your installment, or the following month at least, your installment is going to increase, because now you've made a huge purchase, and winter clothes aren't cheap.
Exactly.
Okay. So again, on the budgeting and planning ahead, at the end of winter, most of the shops, if not all of them, will have a winter sale, end of winter sale. That's the time to purchase quite a few stuff. Stash it away. Next winter is coming. That's what I do. Those nice boots that we've been eyeing and you can't afford the price, I look at them, I'm coming. When we have the winter sale, I buy them. Next winter, I'll be good for the winter, I'll be ready. And usually that stuff that's on sale is a giveaway, because they need to clear the stock. They want to prepare for summer stock, or summer new stock for summer. So it is a good time to buy. So plan ahead, instead of buying the boots now when they are very expensive, or those jerseys or those jackets, and even the blankets.
So I can prepare for my end of July, August budget by squeezing in that sale for the stuff that I was eyeing.
Yes, you do the same in January or around about February, when they have the huge winter sale, summer sales.
Exactly.
Look at those stuff, buy the clothes, put it away. You're going to need them, because they're also clearing for the new set of season or new fashion trends that are coming in. So sales are very handy. We need to budget for them as well, because it's not going to be a small and a plastic that you're going to walk out with. It's quite a consumable, pack, because I'm hoping you're buying for every family member. So budget and put some money aside to say, at this point, I know there's going to be a huge sale. this one needs this, and this one needs that, and this one would like to have that, and you buy at very reasonable prices at the time. So your total purchase will be maybe a quarter of the price that you would have paid. It's also budgeting and planning ahead.
Walking us through the alphabets: budgeting, planning, and sales. Well, let's recap on this evening's discussion with some key takeaway points. Well, Eunice, we've certainly said quite a bit, but if we could sum it up for financial winter warmers, the key things that we need to remember.
I think firstly, it's budgeting for winter. We know everything is expensive in winter. The usage of electricity, the type of food that we're going to buy because of the meals that we need to prepare for winter. Look at your home. If you need to insulate some rooms, those windows, if they have some cracks, and the door, there's air leaking in there, obviously there's going to be cold air coming in. So you need to make sure that all of those are insulated properly. Your geyser, is it good, you know, for the purpose for winter? The temperature, is it set okay? So around electricity, just use electricity wisely so that the bill doesn't shock you at the end of the month. Those meals in the kitchen, plan wisely, cook wisely. Cook bigger pots, you know, bigger meals that maybe the following day you don't have to cook everything afresh. That saves on electricity and time. And again, when you're doing your groceries, plan, have a list so that you know what exactly you're going to buy, as opposed to just saying, oh, there's this on sale, or oh, I feel like this. You know, winter food is expensive because you want warm stuff.
Exactly.
We tend to buy a lot in winter. Without a grocery list, you're going to come back with a lot. And that bill is going to be very high. Again, for those that use their cars for transportation, check your tire pressure and make sure that it's set at the right amount so that it helps with petrol consumption. One thing that I also forgot to mention is entertainment. We might not think about entertainment a lot in winter, but we do. You have family coming to visit, or maybe you going out. Remember, we don't have lots of braais in the picnics in winter because it's cold. We do it indoors. So when you have a group of friends or family coming to visit, you're going to cook up a storm. That's also expensive. So plan for it before you do it. And if you eat out, those meals are expensive. So plan for them if you're ever going to go out. So we might not think about it, but we're going to do it. That is entertainment. Plan for it, and at least you have a good time.
It all comes down to the plan and the small little issues that you highlighted.
All of them.
Eunice, such a pleasure having you with us this evening, definitely sharing some interesting insights as to how we can all save a little bit more in our back pockets. Well, that's where we leave it for Personal Finance tonight. A big thank you once more to Eunice Sibiya, Head of FNB Consumer Education. Remember that we want to hear from you, and maybe you have tips as well that you'd like to share with us. You can tweet any of your comments to @CNBC Africa using the hashtag Finance410, or to myself @Kukumfupi on Twitter. Until next time, it's goodbye for now.